Welcome to RS's Off My Chest, where a heartbroken sibling shares an incredibly personal story about loss, guilt, and finding unexpected peace in tragedy that has everyone questioning how we process grief. Our next Reddit post is from someone dealing with the unimaginable, losing a sibling to suicide and discovering that sometimes the worst moments might actually contain hidden mercy. My older sister killed herself in January. We had an extremely strained relationship. She moved back home with my dad and I. My dad found her dead in her bedroom when he got home from a work trip. It was about 15 hours before she was found. She called me on the phone from her upstairs bedroom to ask me to bring her water. Very weakly, but that did not click with me at the time. I was downstairs in the living room. Due to our strained relationship, I told her to get it herself. I did not know it, but she was actively dying. To get to the point, through my guilt and grief, I have come to the realization that if I were to have brought her water, I would have found her in her dying state. I would have called the police. Panic would have ensued. Due to what she took, there would have been absolutely no way to reverse the effects. Found on time or not, she would have died regardless. I've come to think about the fact that she died in her quiet bedroom. Maybe she had music playing. She was in her own silence. If I were to have found her and called 911, maybe her last dying thoughts would have been regret and panic amongst chaos, rather than peace and silence amongst her own final thoughts. I am coping with this every day of my life. I wish I had my entire life to do over with her. I wish my last words to her weren't so nasty. But somehow, in the darkest corner of my grief, I found this weird comfort in knowing she left this world quietly, on her own terms, surrounded by her own things and her own thoughts. The guilt nearly killed me at first. I replayed that phone call 1,000 times, her weak voice asking for water, me being stubborn and cold because that's just how we were with each other. Siblings, you know? Always pushing each other's buttons, never knowing which conversation might be the last one. But then I started thinking, what if I had gone upstairs? What if I'd found her there, struggling, fading away? The ambulance would have come screaming down our street. Strangers would have rushed into her personal space, her sanctuary. Her last moments would have been filled with chaos, bright lights, people she didn't know, trying desperately to save someone who was already gone. Instead, she got to slip away in the room where she felt safe. Maybe she was listening to that playlist she always had on. Maybe she was looking at the photos on her dresser, or thinking about good memories I didn't even know she had. There's something almost beautiful about that. Peaceful. I know that sounds fucked up to say. I know people think I should feel nothing but regret. And don't get me wrong, I do. I regret everything. Every fight we had, every time I rolled my eyes at her, every moment I chose being right over being kind. I'd give anything to have those years back, to be the sister she deserved instead of the one she got. But I can't change any of that now. All I can do is try to find meaning in what actually happened. And what happened is that my sister, who struggled with so much pain that I never fully understood, got to leave this world quietly. Without sirens, without strangers, without panic. Just her and her room and whatever peace she managed to find in those final moments. I'm learning to live with that. Some days it's harder than others, but I'm learning. Our next Reddit post is from "My nephew destroyed my daughter's dreams. I no longer have a sister. Throwaway. I, 31F, have a 9-year-old daughter. My older sister has a 14-year-old son. Our kids got along until my nephew's father passed away 2 years ago. He's still a kid, but he's kind of an ass. His mom lets him get away with anything in the name of grief. My nephew is definitely taking advantage of it. We all went to check in on my mom today after she had a fall. My daughter loves to knit, and she's quite good at it. She brought along her latest project, a personalized backpack she completed a couple of days ago, to show to her grandmother. She's been working on it for weeks, from the design to the final product, and planned to enter it into a competition with a big cash prize this weekend. I spent a small fortune on yarn, and the end result was so worth it. My daughter planned to use the prize money to pay for a school trip we otherwise couldn't afford. I'm very proud of my resourceful girl. While my nephew set the bag on fire, my daughter refused to give it to him, so he decided to get back at her by destroying it. When confronted, he blamed my daughter, and my sister, of course, made excuses for him. I demanded that she reimburse me for the yarn and her labor, But she refused, despite being able to afford it. She said the bag had no value because a kid made it. Never mind that she was fawning over it when she first saw it. She knows damn well how lovely it was. My daughter is absolutely gutted. There isn't enough time to make another one, and the comments my sister made cut her deeply. I'm heartbroken for my girl. She has lost both her work and the school trip. My sister and her son can go to hell. My nephew is headed down a very dark path, and his mom is allowing it. I never want to see them again. Look, you guys, this story right here, this is exactly why I don't trust people who use grief as a get-out-of-jail-free card for their kids' shitty behavior. First off, can we talk about this little girl for a second? 9 years old, and she's designing and making backpacks that are competition-worthy? That's not just talent, that's dedication. Hours and hours of work, planning for weeks, using her potential prize money for a school trip she couldn't otherwise afford. This kid has more work ethic than most adults I know. And then here comes this 14-year-old tornado of entitlement. I get it. Losing your dad is traumatic as hell. But you know what? Trauma doesn't give you a free pass to be a destructive little psychopath. Setting someone's hard work on fire because they won't give it to you? That's not grief, that's straight-up sociopathic behavior. But here's what really gets my blood boiling: the sister's reaction. A kid made it so it has no value? Are you kidding me right now? This woman was literally fawning over the backpack when she first saw it, probably posting pictures on Facebook about her talented niece, and then the second her precious angel destroys it, suddenly it's worthless? As a parent myself, if my kid did something like this, I'd be at the craft store that same day buying replacement yarn and driving my kid to anger management. The fact that she's making excuses and refusing to make it right is just, it's parenting malpractice. And can we address the real tragedy here? This little girl lost her shot at that competition, lost her school trip, and probably lost a huge chunk of her confidence in her abilities. Those comments about her work being worthless? That's the kind of thing that sticks with kids forever. OP, you're absolutely right to cut them off. Some bridges deserve to be burned, preferably not by psycho nephews with matches. OP, 0 out of 5 buttholes. Protective parent doing exactly what she should. The nephew, 4 out of 5 buttholes. Kids got serious issues that need addressing ASAP. The sister, 5 out of 5 buttholes. Enabling destructive behavior and crushing a 9-year-old's dreams. The daughter, 0 out of 5 buttholes. She's a talented, hardworking kid who deserved better. Our next Reddit post is from I Hate My Husband, who I married just a month ago. First of all, we both Muslims and married in a traditional way. Second, English is my third language. So the thing that made me kill any chance of my having feelings for him is after our first night together that I am not a virgin. Because it went in so easily, and when I later asked him about it, he just said, "Oh, maybe you used to ride horses." When I told him how dare he say this, and should he like the same being, said to his sister he didn't say anything, he just went to sleep. And I was crying, and while crying, he made me have sex with him again. I felt so humiliated, and this keeps playing in my head when I later tried to talk to him about it. He just said, "You talk bad about my sister." Family is no help, other than my one sister. The rest says it's normal, and I should just deal with it. You know what? I'm done pretending this shit is okay. 1 month. 1 month married, and I already know I made the biggest mistake of my life. And before anyone comes at me about arranged marriages or whatever, yeah, it was traditional, but I don't know what I thought. That he'd at least be decent? That he'd treat me like a human being? Our wedding night was supposed to be... I was nervous as hell, obviously. It's a big deal, right? Your first time with someone who's supposed to be your partner for life. And this asshole... God, I can't even believe I'm calling my husband an asshole, but here we are. He has the audacity to question my virginity because things went too easily. Like, what the actual fuck? First of all, that's not even how anatomy works, you ignorant piece of shit. Second of all, even if it was, and it's not. But even if it was, what kind of man says that to his wife on their wedding night? What kind of person looks at someone who's vulnerable and scared and thinks, you know what this moment needs? Some slut-shaming. And then, He suggests maybe I used to ride horses. I'm sorry, what? Where did that even come from? Like he's been sitting there creating these elaborate backstories about my supposed sexual history. Meanwhile, this dude probably couldn't find a clitoris with a GPS and a fucking roadmap. But the worst part, the part that makes me want to throw up every time I think about it, is what happened after. I'm there crying, like actually sobbing, because the man I just married basically called me a whore on our wedding night, and he decides that's the perfect time to initiate again. While I'm crying, while I'm telling him how much he hurt me, I keep replaying it in my head and I feel sick. That wasn't love. That wasn't even lust. That was... I don't even know what that was. Power? Control? Just complete and total disregard for me as a person? And when I tried to talk to him about it later, you know what this genius says? You talked bad about my sister. Because apparently asking if he'd want someone to say the same thing to his sister is talking bad about her. Not him literally calling me a whore on our wedding night. That's totally fine. But me pointing out his hypocrisy? That's crossing the line. My family keeps telling me this is normal, that I should just deal with it. That it gets better. But how the hell does someone get better when they fundamentally don't respect you, when they see you as property instead of a person? My sister, the one who actually gives a damn about me, she says I should leave. But it's complicated, right? It's always fucking complicated. The shame, the family pressure, the financial stuff, starting over when you're already drowning. I hate him. Is that terrible to say about your husband of 1 month? I hate the sound of his voice. I hate the way he chews. I hate that he thinks he owns me now. I hate that I'm stuck in this house with someone who made me feel like garbage on what was supposed to be one of the most important nights of my life. 1 month in, and I'm already fantasizing about being a widow. That's not normal, right? That can't be normal. Look, you guys, this one made me physically nauseous to read. OP, honey, I need you to listen to me very carefully. None of this is normal. None of it is okay. And none of it is your fault. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Your husband is not just ignorant about female anatomy, though he clearly is. He's straight up abusive. Questioning your virginity on your wedding night? That's psychological abuse. Forcing sex while you're crying? That's rape. I don't care if you're married. I don't care what culture you're from. That is sexual assault, full stop. The horse riding comment? That's not just stupidity. That's calculated cruelty. He knew exactly what he was implying, and he said it specifically to hurt and humiliate you. Then, when you rightfully called him out, he flipped it around to make you the bad guy for insulting his sister. That's textbook gaslighting. As someone who's seen way too many relationships go down in flames, I can tell you, it doesn't get better with guys like this. It gets worse. Much worse. Right now, he's testing your boundaries, seeing how much abuse you'll accept. And every time you stay, every time your family tells you to just deal with it, you're basically giving him permission to escalate. Your family saying this is normal? That's generational trauma talking. Just because abuse was normalized for them doesn't mean you have to accept it. Your one sister who's telling you to leave? She's the only one thinking clearly here. OP, you've been married 1 month and you're already fantasizing about being a widow. That's your gut screaming at you to run. Trust that instinct. It might be complicated, but complicated is better than destroyed. OP, 0 out of 5 buttholes. You're a victim trying to survive an impossible situation. The husband, 5 out of 5 buttholes. Abusive rapist masquerading as a husband. The family, 4 out of 5 buttholes. Enablers perpetuating the cycle of abuse. The supportive sister, 0 out of 5 buttholes. The only person with any sense in this whole mess. Our next Reddit post is from, my dad confessed something on his deathbed. I wish I never heard my dad passed away 2 weeks ago. We weren't very close, but I was the one with him in his final days because my mom died years ago and my siblings live abroad. He had liver failure, was in and out of lucidity, and there were moments he'd say things that didn't make sense. Until one night he looked straight at me and said, I'm sorry for what I did to your cousin. I asked him what he meant. He just kept repeating, I was drunk, I didn't know. I was young. I was stupid. It took a few more minutes of him talking in half thoughts before it hit me. He was admitting to molesting her. My cousin. My childhood best friend. The one who suddenly stopped coming around when we were 10. The one whose family moved and cut all contact without warning. I've been spiraling ever since. I don't know what to do with this. He's gone. He can't be punished. I don't even know where she lives now. I don't even know if I should try to find her and tell her. What would I even say? What would be the point? I buried my father and I'm burying this with him, but it's eating me alive. I wish I never heard it. I wish I could unknow it. I hate him for this. I hate that I loved him. Jesus Christ. Where do I even start with this one? OP, I am so fucking sorry you're going through this. Like, genuinely, this is one of those situations where there are no good answers, no clean solutions, and definitely no happy endings. First off, let's talk about what your brain is probably doing right now. You're questioning everything, right? Every memory, every family gathering, every time you defended your dad to someone. That's normal. That's your brain trying to reconcile the person you thought you knew with this horrific truth. It's like finding out your favorite childhood movie was actually a snuff film. Everything gets recontextualized in the worst possible way. And can we talk about the timing here? Your dad waited until he was literally dying to drop this bomb on you. That's not confession, that's emotional terrorism. He got to unload his guilt and then peace out, leaving you to deal with the fallout for the rest of your life? That's some next-level selfish bullshit right there. But here's what's really messing with my head about this story. You said your cousin suddenly stopped coming around when you were 10, and her family moved and cut all contact without warning. Dude, that wasn't sudden. That wasn't random. Her parents knew. They figured it out, and they got her the hell away from your family. Which means they've been living with this secret too, probably wondering if anyone else in your family knew. Look, I know you're torn up about whether to reach out to your cousin. Part of you probably thinks it would just cause more pain, right? But here's the thing. She's been carrying this alone for decades. She probably thinks nobody believed her. Or worse, that nobody cared enough to do anything about it. As someone who's dealt with family secrets that could level entire relationships, I can tell you, the truth has a way of eating you alive when you keep it buried. Your cousin deserves to know that someone finally knows what happened to her, that someone finally believes her story. You don't have to be her therapist or her savior, but you could be the person who validates her experience. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything. And OP, that conflicted feeling you have about loving and hating your dad at the same time, that's not weird. That's human. People aren't all good or all evil. They're complicated, messy, and sometimes absolutely devastating. You can grieve the father you thought you had while being disgusted by the man he actually was. OP, 0 out of 5 buttholes. You're processing an impossible situation with more grace than most people can manage. The dad, 5 out of 5 buttholes. Took his guilt to the grave and dumped it on his kid instead of facing consequences. The situation, 5 out of 5 buttholes. Some secrets are too heavy for one person to carry alone. Our next Reddit post is from my husband just denied a favor on his birthday after I moved mountains. My husband just denied a favor on his birthday after I moved mountains to make it a good day for him. Our marriage might be over. I'm deleting the body of the post to save my sanity. I know I have some big choices to make and tough feelings to handle. I didn't expect such a large response. I just needed to vent, and would prefer to not have the entire internet sharing my story over and over. I appreciate the comments looking out for me, and not a single, he's obviously cheating ones. But it's time to put this to rest. I've gotten enough feedback. Whether or not it's time to leave my husband is between him and I now. And a therapist that will either help him see that what he's doing isn't okay, or that will help guide us through separating. Thanks. Okay, so she deleted the actual story, but based on that title and the aftermath, we can read between the lines here. And honestly, I think I know exactly what happened. Let me paint you a picture. It's this dude's birthday, right? And OP, bless her heart, probably spent weeks planning. Maybe she took time off work, coordinated with his friends, bought his favorite cake, decorated the house, got him that thing he's been wanting for months. You know, the full wife treatment, birthday extravaganza that takes actual effort and planning. And then, after all that, after she's exhausted herself making his day perfect, homeboy has the audacity to turn down some bedroom fun. Now, I'm not saying anyone owes anyone sex, but the way she's talking about moving mountains, and then getting completely shut down? That's not just a simple, "Not tonight, honey, I'm tired." This sounds like one of those situations where she's been giving 110% to this relationship, and he's been giving maybe 30% on a good day. You know the type, the guy who takes all the effort for granted and then acts like his wife is being unreasonable when she actually wants some intimacy in return. But here's what really gets me. Look at how she responded to the comments. She specifically mentioned appreciating that people weren't saying, "He's obviously cheating," which tells me that's exactly what everyone was thinking, but she was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what, though? Sometimes when everyone around you is seeing the same red flags, it's not because they're all crazy. It's because you're too close to the situation to see what's right in front of your face. The fact that she's talking about marriage counseling or separation after one incident, that means this isn't really about one birthday rejection. This is about years of feeling unappreciated, unwanted, and taken for granted. This was just the final straw that broke the camel's back. I've been in relationships where you feel like you're the only one trying, and let me tell you, it's soul-crushing. You start questioning everything. Am I not attractive anymore? Am I asking for too much? Why am I the only one who seems to care about keeping this spark alive? OP, if you're still reading comments somewhere out there in internet land, the fact that you're questioning whether your marriage is over after he rejected intimacy on his birthday tells me everything I need to know about the state of your relationship. Happy, satisfied wives don't have that thought process. Whether he's cheating or just emotionally checked out, the result is the same. You're married to someone who doesn't seem to want you. And life's too short to spend it begging for affection from someone who's supposed to love you most. OP, 1 out of 5 buttholes. Only because she might be a little dramatic, but honestly, she deserves better. The husband, 4 out of 5 buttholes. You don't reject your wife on your birthday after she moved mountains for you without consequences. The situation, 5 out of 5 buttholes. Dead bedrooms kill marriages faster than almost anything else.